We have to do this. We have to turn this around. The thing I love about the stimulus package is what we're going to see is a real investment in manufacturing. But the numbers aren't good. Let's not, paint a rosy picture here. Manufacturing, jobs wiped out this decade, 22% of them are gone. What are we going to do to turn that number around? And when you take a look at the manufacturing jobs that were lost just last month, 161,000 in March, 1.5 million since December of 07, and 4.6 million since the year 2000. My message to you on this program is that we are better than that. Yes, I'm going to have the hot stories on the Ed Show. Yes, I'm going to interview the movers and the shakers, and I'm going to give you some sports and some commentary. We're going to have all kinds of fun on the Ed program. But you know what? It's coming from right here because I've seen it, I've heard it, and I have felt it with the American people, and they want this change. And I am not going to let the conservative talkers of America talk me down, and I'm not going to let them talk you down. We have spoken, and now we got to hold the majority's feet to the fire to make sure we get a lot of things done. And we can do a lot in manufacturing. And a man who I admire a great deal, joining me now is Leo Gerard, the president of the United Steelworkers. Brother, it is great to have you here on the first Ed Show. Leo, great to have you on board, buddy.
Thank you very much, Ed, and I want to say I'm honored and humbled to be on your first show. You're hitting the nail right on the head where it needs to be hit. What do we have to do? Leo, I mean, we've got numbers out there, we've got a commitment out there, but where do we go from here? We're not even at the 100-day mark yet. Where do you stand on all this? What do we have to do? Well, I think President Obama started down the right path. I think that his stimulus package is in the right direction. But I think that we've got to get the members of the House and Senate, and really in both parties, they've got to step forward the way you're talking about and say that we need to rebuild America. We cannot put this country back on its feet by continuing to worship at the knees of the financial community that put us in this mess. We've got to go back to start to make things in America. We've got to put people back to work. We've got to save the auto industry. I mean, let me be very, very blunt. The domestic auto industry, the North American auto industry as we know it, is as important to the future of manufacturing as Goldman Sachs and Citibank were to the future of the financial community. And we need people to understand that. These are good family-supporting jobs. And when you shut down the car industry, you're shutting down the steel industry, the tire industry, the computer chip industry, you're shutting down the iron ore mines, you're shutting down the conveyor belt manufacturers. And we need to stand up and demand that we go back to making things in America, and we have to make sure we save the auto industry to do it. Mr. Gerard, do you agree with the president? Was this a good move to tell GM that there's a timetable, there's 60 days, and for Chrysler there's 30 days? They've got to get their act together and prove that they're going to be aggressive and get it done, or is that just not enough time to get it done? What do you think? I think as a first step, you always need to have a timetable, but I think 60 days is going to be short. I've been through a lot of bankruptcies in the steel industry and other industries. It takes a long time to do that, and here we're trying to do it outside of bankruptcy. I need to make sure that people understand this isn't the workers' fault. This was management's fault making dumb decisions. The bondholders need to get ready to take a big haircut because they're the ones that took the risk. The workers went to work every day, played by the rules, did what had to be done. The steel industry that supports the manufacturing industry, that supports the car industry, they're getting hurt now because of this. So I think the president's done the right thing, but I also want to say very clearly that what we need is a new plan from these people. They can't shrink themselves to profitability or import themselves to profitability. The problem is we've been losing the family-supporting jobs in America, and on top of the financial crisis, people can't get to the incomes they need to buy cars and to maintain their standard of living. And when you put health care on top of it, Ed, that health care thing is a crusher. It's a crusher to manufacturing in North America. It is the #1 issue. I have heard it all over the country. We can't talk enough about it. Now, Mr. Gerard, I want to ask you about the president over at the G20. Is he tough enough on China? What do we have to do? These trade agreements have absolutely harnessed the American worker. What has to change? Can we change? And do you think President Obama has what it takes to face up to the Chinese with these agreements? I certainly believe that President Obama has what it takes to lead us out of the mess we're in. I want to say, though, that I'm very concerned that we're so indebted to China that they're trying to push us around. The fact is they don't meet our environmental standards. They don't meet our labor standards. They're manipulating their currency. We ought not to be pushed off that dime. And we're not going to be able to save American manufacturing unless we get China to play by the rules, quit manipulating their currency,
and finally,
start opening up their markets to us.
And finally, Leo Gerard, President of Steelworkers in this country, I got to ask you, the Employee Free Choice Act, how important is it to you? Do you have to have this to reinvigorate the country's economy?
I think people that look at history will know that it was the ability to have workers organize into unions that helped us build the middle class. And the last 8 years where this administration of the Bush gang crushed the ability of unions to organize, we need to pass the Employee Free Choice Act so that as we move into a stronger economy, workers can get a fair share of that economy. Without the ability to bargain, there is no way for them to get anything except benevolence from some benevolent bosses, if you can find one.
For the working folk of America, Leo Gerard, President of the United Steelworkers, it's an honor to have you on. We'll talk more about it in so many more shows, Leo. Thanks so much.